Brian, why do you move?
This is a loaded question, right? We have a 3-year-old son, so I want him to make sure he has a full understanding of both cultures. So whether that's through food, whether that's through music, whether that's through dance, through language. I want to make sure that I understand his culture enough to be able to communicate to him or point him in the right direction. And then 6 months in, I was like, how can I show appreciation to this dance community? And that's when I came up with Brunch Bachata.
Food and dancing are my kryptonite, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the best part of communities, right? Is you cannot speak the same language and still have a good time, right? While at the same time giving love back to the DJs and the instructors that do so much for this community. Give them an opportunity to showcase what they do, have performers, showcase Philly talent, and just have a good time for everybody in the community.
You're gonna make me cry, bro.
Love it.
Hell yeah. Welcome back, y'all, to the Why We Move podcast. It's your host, Ricardo. This is a very special episode with Ryan Brown from Brown's Test Kitchen. He is the owner and the organizer of Salsa y Cervezas, Mambo Mimosas, Brunch Bachata, and anything else I'm missing?
No, that's it. That's it.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I see that you're not only just a business owner, but you're also a corporate tax accountant.
Yep.
Talk to me about that, man. That's crazy. And introduce yourself, please, for everybody to know.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Ryan Brown. I'm a corporate tax accountant by trade. I started in public accounting, worked for manufacturing companies. Now I work for a digital asset exchange doing their state and local taxes. And just a creative person that is outside the norms of a tax accountant. I love the structure and the law that takes place in accounting, but then it's my creative brain says, no, you have to do other stuff. So from the other stuff, I end up having a bunch of hobbies. And I'm a hobbyist by trade and just try to get new experience and try different things and have fun with it.
Oh yeah, man. And that's what brought you to dance.
That's what brought me to dance. Absolutely.
Awesome. And that leads to the first question, my man, is Ryan, why do you move?
This is a loaded question, right? For me, if I break it down, I feel like it's 3 parts. The first part, most important part, is just for fun. It's just a fun way to express yourself. The second part is I specifically remember a time where I always wanted to learn how to dance salsa. And that was, me and my brother went on a cruise together and we watched this kid ask a girl to dance and they just danced and had a great time. And I was like, how did y'all come up with this choreography? It's like, no, we just danced. And I was like, no. Y'all did these crazy moves. What did you actually do? And they were like, no, it's just a language of dance. And I was like, I have to learn that.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is my son. So I'm Black, African American. My wife's Puerto Rican. So we have a 3-year-old son. So I want him to make sure he has a full understanding of both cultures. So whether that's through food, whether that's through music, whether that's through dance, through language. I want to make sure that I understand his culture enough to be able to communicate to him or point him in the right direction. So learning how to dance is a part of that for me.
Dude, that's beautiful, man. Let's talk about being not only a great husband as well to your wife, I'm sure, about learning her culture and learning that part of dancing, but to your kid as a father, dude, you're doing it all, man. I don't know how you do it.
I appreciate it.
Honestly, mad respect to you, brother. So that's crazy. And I see here that you started dancing in December of 2021. Can you go back to the past for me and kind of relive the story of how you started dancing?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was right at the end, kind of the end of the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
La Luna Dance Studio, they had their mega dance Christmas party. And my brother got invited from one of his gym buddies. It's like, hey, come out to this party, learn how to dance salsa and bachata. He was like, right. He was there with me with the cruise, meeting the person, and we both always wanted to learn. And he's a big part of Brown's Test Kitchen and what we do. So he was like, come out, let's go dance. I said, all right, cool. We went out, we took all the lessons that we could, and we just got addicted. So in January, we started going once a month to La Luna. By the time February hit, we were like hitting Brazil, we were hitting all these atrium, all the different venues that you could go to once a week, and just kind of snowballed into us dancing. And then 6 months in, I was like, how can I show appreciation to this dance community? And that's when I came up with Brunch and Bachata.
That's amazing. Yo, and shout out, man, because you got me this shirt, bro. Like shout out Brown's Test Kitchen, man, for putting on this Brunch and Bachata. Like, look at this sweet ass shirt, man. If you haven't copped one, you have to. Is it on your website? Is it?
I have to get on my website, but we sell it at every event.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so it's for every event.
So you got to show up, y'all. So show up, because I haven't been, but I've heard so many things. I've seen so many videos and photos, man. I'm so sad that I can't go this weekend, but I swear to God, I'm gonna go to the next one, and I can't wait, man, because food and dancing are my kryptonite, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the best part of communities, right? Is how can we engage? We engage in music, we engage in food, we engage with language sometimes, right? The nonverbal communication happens well, but drinking a beer together, right? Like, it's just, you cannot speak the same language and still have a good time, right? So
that's amazing.
I think dance is a key part of that.
Yeah, it's a very vulnerable thing you share with people, and also to like eat in front of people and drink in front of people. It's like it's a part of you that I think doesn't come out all the time, and to combine all the elements is very interesting. Curious to know where that idea came from. I know you had said like you want to give back to the community, but were you a chef? Were you like, did you have this background of food and brunch and whatnot? Or did you just like, hey, I just want to bring this together? Like, kind of talk about that.
Yeah. So I have a catering business. I have this background of food. I've been doing pop-ups prior to the event, probably for like 4 years, and had dinner parties, pop-ups throughout the city. And then I just want to create a new idea while at the same time giving love back to the DJs and the instructors that like do so much for this community. And for me, the best way to do that was like, all right, let me pay them. Let me hire them. I can't go to every studio. I try to go to whatever studio I can do. But like, I can hire them. I can bring them in for the event, give them an opportunity to showcase what they do, have performers, showcase Philly talent, and just have a good time for everybody in the community.
That's awesome, man. No, that speaks to the mission of why I started this podcast, as well as to help promote the shit out of people who are doing good shit on the dance floor. And we had a conversation at FDR Park, and I appreciate you affirming, like the podcast and just kind of like what you shared with me. That was very, very special, because I think I don't care what comes out of this. I do care if people have some kind of impact, and share whatever it is, if it's insights, tips and tricks, if it's getting people another, like just one more single soul to an event for a DJ to make their night, or an organizer to be able to make their cut, or dancers to just have fun. I think that's like the mission that I want this podcast to do. And I want to highlight people like you, because I think you're doing this for a very good reason and for a beautiful thing to support the community. And I think that's so important to have wherever you go, whether it's a hobby of rock climbing or wine tasting or whatever it is, like in dancing especially. So I appreciate you for doing the things that you're doing, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I absolutely love the podcast. I love what you're doing, and it's great that you're highlighting so many amazing people and their different experiences, because then people can listen and say, all right, I get that. Like, I felt that. I'm happy I'm not alone.
Yes. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. You're gonna make me cry, bro. I never thought I thought I'd be laughing a lot on this podcast, but sometimes I'll be, shedding a tear. But let's get right into it, man. Let's go into your story. Let's talk about essentially, what did you start dancing with? Was it bachata? Was it salsa? What was it?
Yeah, so that style of dancing was salsa on the cruise that I witnessed, and so I always wanted to do it. I had a friend who like taught lessons before, and like, I was like, I need you to teach me how to dance. Like, I need to teach you. It never happened. But like, I think a lot of Black people always think they can dance salsa until they actually try to dance it. And like, we get the body movement, we get the rhythm, we get the count sometimes, but like the full essence of it, like, you have to learn, right? Someone has to teach you. So at La Luna, they did a good job of doing bachata and salsa on the mega dance nights. So I was learning both. So it was like DJ Big George, Jose Maldonado, were teaching the lessons at that time, and I was learning from them. And then from there, went to Estilo. I started dancing at Brazil's, taking like the Wednesday classes, and then doing Lucha Cartel on Thursday nights, learning bachata, going there, and then started doing mambo primarily on Wednesdays at Estilo. So I go there every Wednesday I can, and try to take lessons there. So I have a huge love for mambo. I want to dance all types of dance, right? Like I like kizomba, like doing. I want to try zouk. I haven't tried it yet, but I heard it's pretty cool. Yeah. Still need to work on my cha-cha game. Like I feel like Philly doesn't do enough cha-cha.
Yo, straight up.
You always get one song in a social, and then that's about it. So
and most people usually dip.
The floor is empty for cha-cha. So you got to find your one cha-cha person that you know all the time you could dance with.
Yeah, you got to RSVP them.
yeah, absolutely.
That's hilarious, man. That's so interesting that you're going all and exploring it all, man. I know you had kind of mentioned that are you focusing more on mambo, on that style of dance? Or
Yeah, I focus more on mambo. I just love the essence of it. Like the music itself is like my favorite. I think it's probably a blend of like the African roots, the nature of it. I mess with Jody all the time, my wife. So like they talk about how like the clave is like the heart of salsa music. And I'm like it's mi corazón. And like I tell it to her all the time, and she's like joking. I'm like, so we went out to Nashville for our anniversary. Nice. And we went to the African American Museum, learning the history of culture, music, and everything. And like they had this like audio thing that you can just like listen to different generations of music. So they went back to Africa, was listening to music, and they had a cowbell playing. So I like listened to cowbell, and it was exactly the 2/3 clave hit.
Interesting.
And it's like that clave bell hit was straight out of Ghana.
Wow, dude.
Yeah. So it's like the drums, the music, all of it's rooted back in African culture.
That's awesome, man. There's so much like history there.
Yeah.
You know, I had Giovanni on the podcast like literally right before this. But Giovanni was even talking about the history of it all, and like with mambo, he was talking about like, or even salsa on two, he was talking about the difference there between on one and on two is you listen to the instruments more on two versus the singer more on one.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I had this like click like about a couple of years ago when I first kind of moved here, visited here, where I started getting into on two, been on one dancer for the longest time. And I just had this like feeling like, oh, like I like this part of this song more, or I like moving my body, or I could feel myself moving differently than on one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was those instruments, man. It's crazy how much it influences you.
Yeah, it's like the drums, the music. Like I'm a piano player. It's another one of my hobbies that I have. And just I'm always trying to listen to the musicality portion of it. And Gio kind of roped me in to mambo. Like he brought me to the mambo track. Like I was dancing on one for so long and said, hey, like you're gonna love on two. Yeah. You have to try it. Like come to this workshop. Come to the studio and try it out.
He's a cult leader, man.
yeah, for sure. Absolutely is. Mambo Wednesdays are a good time.
Oh, I got to check it out, man.
Yeah, Gio and Omi do a great job at Estilo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I definitely got to check it out. You can tell, like, Philly's growing so much, man.
It has.
It's growing so much.
Absolutely has. I've been here dancing in the scene for 2 years now, 2.5 years. And you just see the growth of the community. But then you're starting to see like the new cycle of people coming into the community. Yeah. And it's weird to me though, because I feel like I'm still the new guy and I'm not. I'm the brunch guy. You're the chef guy. Like, it's like, oh, you like dancing on two guy.
Yeah. It's funny all the nicknames that people start giving you.
Yeah, absolutely. You may not, know everyone's face. You may not know everyone's name, but you remember them somehow.
Yeah, exactly. I get told I'm the red hat guy or the curly haired guy or the cuffed ankle jeans guy.
Nice.
The Vans guy. Yeah, it's so funny. But now let's kind of talk about your journey in social dancing. So as somebody who's been learning all the dances and even like going out and social dancing, what do you love most about participating in social dancing? If you can boil it down to one thing, it could be multiple things.
Yeah.
Right?
If I boil it down to it, it's just, we're there just to have a good time, right? Social dancing is intimate, but also like open. Like it's weird, like because you're in this space where you can just be locked in with one person on a song, but at the same time, a whole experience happening around you.
Yeah.
Which I love a part about it. I think one of the good things is that like people can be, let's say, a beginner in dancing, or you can be higher level, but regardless, you can have a good time just out social dancing. And for me, it's like if someone asks me to dance, I try to say yes and just have a good time regardless of the level, because I remember me being a very beginner, like not even able to stay on beat. And even still, like at a point where I'm dancing mambo, I'm like, I'm out of rhythm. Like every experience that you have dancing is an experience for you to learn and get better. But just know like you're never too good to like say no to other dancers, as long as you keep in line with like respect and, oh, I'm too tired or I don't feel safe. Those areas are key.
Yeah. Amazing, man. No, that's definitely a very important note. And it's interesting too that your tip there, like try not to say no to every dance, because you learn something new at every dance. Kind of recently in my journey here, or at least in the last like close to a little over 3 months, I've started realizing that in every conversation that I have with people, interactions, even like down to the second or minute, that like I was put there for a reason, to learn something, always to learn something.
Yeah.
And I think with dancing, especially, like it's like a transfer of energy that you get from people. Like you learn either something about yourself in that moment of like, either it's from the song, more technical things about like the actual dancing, or it's just like an expression that you have, an emotion that you're able to understand more as you're dancing with that person. It's almost like subconscious in a way. Like the other day at FDR Park, I kind of showed up with just like not the most energized mood. Like I felt just like run down from the day, just like working all day. And I was like, what am I even doing? I showed up. Within the first dance, this person who had just started dancing, asked me to dance, and I went on. And I was like, I like took that out completely, and I learned about myself. I can switch myself out of that mode to like really enjoy and understand this experience in front of somebody else who just may not have had that experience of what is social dancing, to be able to kind of like put that aside at least for a moment so I can enjoy this moment. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. So like for me, my wife's a homebody, but I'm a very extroverted person. So like I get energy and I get happiness and joy from having outward experiences. So like I go out dancing, I work from home. So I'm like, I got to get out the house. Like I got to go. I have to dance. I have to interact with people. And every song, every dance is a new experience. You could dance with one person 5 times in a night, but because it's a different song at a different time of night, it's going to be a different experience each time. And I think that's the beauty of dance.
Absolutely agree with you, man. It's a moment in time you'll never get back.
Yeah.
So you might as well make the best of it.
Make the best of it. Enjoy it. Have fun.
Yeah. Love that, man. Let's go into, beginners who are starting to dance. Could you give your insight, your tips and tricks maybe of what can get them to the next level? If we're just speaking about beginners, we'll get into like intermediates and advanced, but like for beginners or people who are just interested in starting to get dancing, what could you tell those people?
Yeah. For me, I think the most important was like just staying on beat. Like being able to stay locked into the rhythm of the dance that you're doing throughout the time, the course of the song. I mean, once you practice that, once you kind of develop your basics, like your fundamentals, building that. And I think that's key in all hobbies. Like for piano is practicing your scales, right? Yeah. Like you practice your scales so that when you play jazz or gospel music, you can do all the fancy licks and tricks, right? But you can't do those things until you practice those fundamentals. Like in basketball, you want to cross people up, right? You want to do all these things, but you can't do that if you don't practice how to dribble properly the first time.
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
So as a beginner in any type of hobby, any type of skill that you're doing, just work on the foundation, work on those basics.
Amazing. That's so important. I think people like to skip that. And I get it. Like when I first started dancing, I was like, let me just do the fancy shit. Like I want to like look like that.
I want to do that, right? You want to do all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like for me now, I still go to beginner classes. I still go to foundation classes because I want to make sure that I have it locked in because I feel like I still don't have it. Like I still have to keep working on the seat, keep getting better, keep refining what I did learn and trying to like expand on. Like right now, I'm really working on my body movement. Like how can I express this differently? How can I do it? How does this person do it now? How can I do it that way while adding my swag into it? Like, what do I look like as a dancer doing it? Like, I'm a bigger guy, so I can't do all the same moves that the little guys do, right? But I can still have like the essence there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's even more inspiring to see people like taller and like just like maybe just people who just don't look like me because I'm 5'10". I'm I guess average per se, but to see somebody very tall like you move a certain way, it's like, oh shit, like, damn, that guy can do it. Like I can do it too, you know? Like I should be able to do it at least.
Thanks for calling me tall. Very generous.
Sure, man. Yeah, you are tall, brother. Yeah, I think it's interesting to see because in the essence of it all, it's like everybody's body is so different. You know? And it's like dance is not selective in that sense. If we kind of go into that topic, it's like you don't have to be born with a talent. You don't have to look a certain way. You don't have to dress a certain way. You don't have to know this person or that person. You can just show up and move your body like the rest of us. Yeah. And you yourself are your own unique taste, you know, your own unique person.
Yeah. I'm of the firm belief that all skills can be learned. Now, there's different levels of expertise, and that's where talent comes into play. Like, Kobe's great. He was a great basketball player because of his hard work and his talent, right? You can't get to certain levels without the special essence, right? That kind of gift. Yeah. You got to have that sauce, right? You got to have the swag. But you can do things really well if you practice and you work on it and you try hard and kind of learn from there.
And so now let's move on to people who have been dancing in the scene for a bit. And it doesn't have to be like, you know, a tip or a trick or something, but like maybe any comment that you have or any questions, something that you can give to intermediates or advanced dancers or people who have been dancing for a minute that can kind of improve their game.
Yeah, I would say the best way for those type of dancers is like build your local community. I think what Philly has to do really
hit the
well.
Buzzer on that? I love that.
Yeah, we have to build our local community. So I've had opportunities to dance other places, which is like the beauty of it. Like I've danced in Nashville, I've danced in Hawaii, I've danced in Florida. Haven't been to New York yet. I gotta still go there. All right. Had a chance to dance in DC, but like I'm really big on, hey, let's dance in Philly. Let's build up the Philly community because we have great dancers. We have people who really can shine, and then we have a new group, a batch of people who are growing up in this community are like ready to learn and eager to learn. So Philly scene I heard it used to be where people used to come to Philly to dance, right? So I would love for us to get back to that, even to have a Congress eventually, right? Yeah. It would be dope for all the Philly groups, teams, studios come together, have a calendar, get something ready so that like the community shines.
That's awesome, man. No, that. I could definitely see that happening in the next like year or two. Yeah. I hope, actually I don't even say I'm going to hope it happens. I know it's going to happen.
Yeah, listen, I'm on board for making it happen. Yeah, whoever wants to do it. Like,
yeah, maybe we started. Yeah, maybe we started, man. That brings up such a different vibe of the community because Philly already is such an artsy place. Like, it's so untapped. It's crazy. And it's almost like lovely that it's so untapped. At the same time, we don't get the recognition, I think.
I think that's just the nature of Philly, right? I think you get that in all of it. Like the city itself is treated like, is it really a big city? Like it's not Chicago, it's not New York, it's not DC. It's like this like rugged, ragged little brother. Sometimes that's how people treat the community, but it's like we have amazing food down here. We have amazing dance and music. And I think it's just part of the essence of Philly, but we could keep building up, keep lifting it up as much as we can.
Absolutely, man. And it's good to have people like you in the community who are doing it right off the get-go. You know, like you've been dancing How long? 2 years?
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Been doing brunch events for 2 years, which is just wild.
Yeah, man, that's nuts. Like huge kudos, man. Because I think a lot of people, and maybe if you're listening to this right now and you think you might have some imposter syndrome or something, you know, because I thought about this when I made this podcast. I was like, you know, who am I? Like I used to instruct way back in the day in Portland, but nothing to the level of what I've, you know, gone to experience over the years with attending classes and just other instructors that I've befriended. But I'm like, who am I to kind of do this kind of thing? But I think everybody who's listening who might think that, you know, test yourself. I think there's something to that because you can create something so fucking beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. So I still have imposter syndrome. Like I still feel like it does. I'm a part of the community, but it still doesn't feel like it's like all of mine, right?
Really?
So it's weird. Like,
dude, I tell you, like straight up, when I first came across your page, I was like, yo, this dude is like a hero, man, in the community. And I'm not gonna lie to you, and I'm not trying to boast you or gas you up. Like I legit thought like you in my head were like this person who was like doing big shit for the community, which you are, right? I think maybe obviously you're telling me that you don't feel like that at times, but I really do think of you as somebody who's doing something really good for the community and is just like really loves what they do and is out there and is really like a part of the heart of the community. You know what I mean?
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, for sure. I still feel like, like I'm a tangent on like this part of it. But I would love to be like, for me, I think I was talking to somebody and I was like, I want to be Switzerland in the salsa community, the dance community. Like I want every studio, every person to be able to come to my events, have a good time, regardless of affiliation, where you're at, where you're dancing. Like everyone can come dance and have a good time and go about their business. Like it's a fun Saturday thing to do.
That's awesome, man. Dude, I love that. Yeah, I can't wait to support you at your next event, man. You're doing some good shit. Let's talk about maybe the not so good parts of dance. I think it's like time we talk about, you know, the misconceptions or even like the stuff that goes bad, because I think when you mix, again, I've said this all, you know, in most episodes of the podcast now, probably like 95%, where you loud music, you know, low light, nonverbal communication, physical touching, and just like, I guess, just movement with another person, with a stranger. Like there's obviously like things that can go bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people who can show up who just don't have the best intentions. So, yeah, I'd like to phrase this question in a different way that I have in the past, but how, since you are part of the Brunch Bachata and that's your event that you lead now, what is something that you maybe want to shout out, or maybe you want to say to the community who's attending these events? I'm not saying that they've been bad at all by any means, but you know, something I think your event has is like this very safeness about it, at least from what I've perceived from the posts and everything that you do. But is there something behind it that you want to say maybe to the community about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I want everyone to understand, like my events are a kid-friendly event. Like my son comes there and dances, right? And I think there's something about daytime events that kind of give like this openness and the airiness to it, where people aren't trying to get belligerent or trying to find how they're going to finish their night type of experience, right? I want people to know like they are safe. Like they can come up to me, they can come up to my brother, anyone on my staff to say, hey, like this interaction happened. I need assistance, need help, something, so that like everything's taken care of. Like I want people to feel safe. I want them to be protected, because there's some weirdos in the community. Like if we're being open and honest, there's some weirdos in the community who think that dancing bachata is sexual versus sensual, right? There's a big difference. Or even when they're dancing salsa, they have an entitlement to, well, you have to dance with me because I asked you. It's like, no, it's a choice. Like it's a question. Like, would you like to dance? Like every time I ask, like, would you like to dance? And then even when we get on the dance floor, like, do you want to dance on one or on two? Because at the end of the day, I have a preference. I enjoy dancing on two, but I dance on one as well. And I want you to have an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Can you go into that a little bit more? Because I I ask that as well. I always ask whoever I'm dancing with, like on one or on two. I always just do this because it's more simple than just like yelling.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
But
Then you're being the weirdo yelling in their ear or whispering in their ear, like, I don't want to be that guy. Yeah. So you just do the on one or on two.
yeah, that's so funny. That's exactly why I'm just like, there's too much happening, right?
Yeah, it's too much.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think it's good. It's like I think the foundation of the dancing is like you want the follower to shine, right? You want them to be the flower that you illuminate, right? So for me, it's like I want them to have a good time. They're going to dance better when they're having a good time and when they're comfortable. And if they want to be challenged a little bit, fine. They'll be willing. They'll be able to communicate that when you say on one or two. And oftentimes they say, hey, I prefer on one, but let's give on two a try. It's like if on two's not working in that dance, stop, go back on one.
Love that.
And that's fine. Just we're not in a performance. Like we're just there to have a good time. So for me, is I wanted to learn all styles of dance, also so that when I have these events, I can dance all of them. So I learned traditional bachata. I'm learning traditional bachata. I learned central bachata from Central City, go to Stilo, different places, controller, like try whatever you can, learn those movements, practice so that when you have the chance to dance with someone, you can know those movements and kind of dance that experience.
That's awesome, man. I love that. That's it speaks such highly of the intention behind why you dance, why you move. It's like to be able to be inclusive. And I think I see it in just the way you carry yourself and the way you conversate with people. Just even noticing you at FDR Park last Friday, just your friendliness with everybody, whether it be a conversation off the dance floor or during a dance, like you always have that like intent, the other person's fun in mind, I'd say.
Yeah. I think it's important. So I'm a Christian at heart, right? Like this is what I believe. So do unto others as you want them to do unto you, right? Like that is a foundation principle. Like love someone as you would love yourself. And I think we lose that a lot of times. And I think there's a couple issues. Like some people just don't love themselves. So they don't know how to love others properly.
Hurt people, man.
Hurt people, right? So if you start practicing and like building on those things, it's like, all right, how do I want to be treated on the dance floor? How do I want to be treated in the community? So let me make sure I portray those actions, because when I first started dancing, there were a lot of followers who were patient with me, right? They were very patient. Yes. Shout out to the followers. They have it hard. So like I started learning how to follow. Like you become a better leader when you learn how to follow. Like you have to stay on your heels a lot longer. Like, you have to make sure you're adhering to the leads. Some leads are better than others. Like the actual lead itself is soft or is very hard, or it's like, all right, let me make sure I have this right. And they were patient with me because I wasn't getting it right. And I knew I wasn't getting it right. But I was still having fun. They still allowed me to feel included. So when I dance, I want to do the same thing. Like, hey, you may have a bad dance, and that's fine. Have a better one. Like, next try. Keep going. Keep dancing. Have a good time.
Hell yeah, man. Oh, that's awesome. Can we get another buzzer on there? Yeah, no, that's so important. Yeah, it's such a. I think it's a thing that people forget. I think people just get like so involved in a dance or whatever that they just forget like there's another person in front of you that's doing a lot of work too.
Yeah, exactly.
Over the last 2.5 years that you've been dancing, what specific challenges or obstacles have you faced along the way?
I think the biggest challenge is being consistent. Like being consistent and getting out of your own head. Because so a lot of people go out to the dances and they learn either. So like it was a year before I hit a studio. It was like I was just going to the social events, taking the class the intro class right before, and then socially dancing. And then like I did that consistently for a year, at least once a week. Started like snowballing 2-3 times a week, but at least once a week I was doing. And then the biggest thing was like, I was stuck in my head, like, I didn't do this right. I didn't do that right. I should have did this. Yeah. Oh, that was such a bad dance. Like, I need to prove myself that I'm a better dancer than that. And it's like, don't worry about that. All of that will come over time because, what is it? Comparison is a thief of joy.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, it'll ruin your experience over time. So I'll be home. I'll be working on my shines in the middle of the living room during lunchtime. And my wife and I, we both work from home. So she'll look at me like, what are you doing? I show her the video like, oh, this is what I did at the studio. She was like, you did that part wrong. Like, you gotta do this. But it's we having fun with it and interacting. Yeah. And then it's like, it's also been cool. It's like, all right, I finally got on the video. And it's like, oh, I did that one right. It's a good time. But being consistent, practicing at home, practicing, going to a studio, learning, taking a private class to work on whatever you need to if you want to become a better dancer. Like, that's the best way to do it.
Word. That's great. That sounds like a fun dynamic, man, you have at home.
Oh, yeah. My wife cracks jokes all the time. She's an introvert, but once she like opens up, like all the jokes fly and we have a good time.
That's awesome, man. Does she dance as well?
So she knows how to dance, but she's not like, I like have to pull her out, say, hey, like once a quarter will you go out social dancing with me? She's like, okay, I guess. But like for us, like we go out to eat, dinner, movies, like traveling. Those are our hobbies together.
Nice. I'm kind of curious to peek into that because I had a lot of people ask me to bring about the topic of being in a relationship with somebody either who is also a dancer or who is a non-dancer, or maybe just not as serious of a dancer as you. Yeah. But I'm curious to know. I mean, like you're married and you have your son. Yeah. Elijah. How old is he?
He's 3. Yeah.
He's 3 years old. He dances too?
Yeah, so Elijah does like dancing.
That's awesome, man.
He hasn't worked on his salsa basic, but we put on the music and then he's like spinning around and moving his body. He has a great time.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I brought him out to a Sigalo social one night and he was out dancing with me and my brother, having a good time. And then he like fell asleep. So I put him in his little stroller, tucked him in the back corner of a room, kept dancing the night away, and then we drove home.
Yeah, that reminds me of childhood, man. Like, you know, growing up in a Hispanic household, there's just like always a kid or two just sleeping.
Tucked in a corner. Yeah. We get that in Black culture too. Like at the cookouts and barbecues, like there's a kid knocked out, tucked away. So
it ain't a party if there's not one. Yeah, you know?
So I want him to get the full experience. So he'll wake up and grow up and say like, hey, I've been at social since I was 3.
That's so cool, man. That's definitely, I'm taking notes, man. That's what I'm gonna do with my kid when I have one. Yeah. But let's talk about that real quick. Like, what is that dynamic like with you and your wife? Because obviously, like social dancing, kind of what we talked about earlier, is like it's dark. You're dancing with strangers. Yep. You know, it's usually the opposite sex, just depending on the nature of the social and a mix of whatever, of whoever. But for you, how long have you been married?
So I've been married 7 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, we just celebrated our 7th anniversary in May.
Congratulations.
Thank
you. So what are there any challenges per se, or like what is that dynamic for you guys?
So that dynamic is built on trust. Like if you don't have trust in your partner, it doesn't work. Like if my partner didn't trust me, like I wouldn't be able to go out socially dancing as much as I do. Mm-hmm. So what happens is, but then also it's a matter of being able to take care of home. Mm-hmm. So the beauty of social dancing is a lot of it's at nighttime. So like we have switching off and on bedtime. Like, this is my bedtime night. This is your bedtime night. So before I go social dancing, I make sure he ate, make sure he took his bath. I rocked him. We sing his songs, read his books, say his prayers. Nice. Like hablando con Papa Dios. Hey. Right? Like he has it. He goes to sleep. Like, all right, he's down for like 15 minutes. All right, Johnny, I'm out. Like, I'm going dancing. And for her, it's like, all right, cool. I'll see you when you get home. Like, it's a matter of trust. Like, she's not worried about the girls out there. She's worried about me. Because it's like, you get the doñas and then you get the other ladies who like, sometimes are fresh and then other ones who like, get too close, get too intimate. And I'm like, yeah, that was a great dance. Like, my wife would love to meet you.
like here you go, you know?
You don't see the ring, but you're going to know about her.
I was just like throwing up gangsters. I don't know what I was doing. I was trying to do this. Like it's so hard.
It's so hard, right? You're just not used to using that finger for dexterity.
Right.
But yeah, it's just like you just have to be open. You have to be honest. You have to you have to trust your partner. And if you don't trust that person, it's not going to work. Like that's the foundation of a healthy marriage. But then it's also communication. Like my wife will tell me like, hey, no, you're not going out dancing today. Like I want time with you. Like I want to spend time. Like, well, I got to go do promo for this event. Like I want to, like stay home, spend time with your family, do that. Like
that's awesome.
And find that balance. Because there's times where I try to go out 2-3 times and she's like, you think you're single, right? Like, you say you're single. I'm like, nah, you're right. I'm not single. I need to stay home. Like,
but checks and balances.
Checks and balances. Well, she's a homebody. So she wants to stay home. She wants to spend time with family. She wants to watch TV, have a good meal. I want to go out. I want to go to the movies. I want to go dancing. I want to go party. Like, I want to interact. People want to have game night.
Yeah. So
we have to find that balance for one another.
That's awesome.
And just proper communication and trust is how we do it.
Awesome, man. That's really cool to hear. It's great to hear that there's examples out there of people who were making that work,
Yeah.
And carrying their social dancing far into their lives and their relationships. So it's really cool to hear. Let's wrap this up, my man. I mean, we already kind of went over like what occupies your time. You're a hobbyist of all sorts. You're a serial hobbyist, right?
Yeah.
Maybe to cap over the last question is, have you found anything from your hobbies or anything that you involve yourself in, being a tax accountant to, being a pianist now, that has crossed over into dancing or vice versa?
I think how I go about things is, I think we were talking about it earlier. Like I like structure. Like I like having a good structure and plan out. And then from that plan, being able to be fluid, right? And I think dance is very good with that. Like, if you focus on the foundational structure of what you're doing is, hey, like, make sure I stay on my basic, make sure I have good rhythm, make sure I'm listening to the music. And then, like, hey, make sure my good skills are there. Like, do I have my right turn down? Do I have my left turn down? Do I have a right turn lead? Do I have a left turn lead? Is my cross-body lead good? What are the cross-body lead variations from there? And then from there, you kind of build off from, now I can make these foundation principles look really good. Could have fun with them. It's like, let's try this cross-body lead variation into this right turn for their left turn to my right turn. Like, let's build off of those principles. And that's the kind of creativity off of a rooted function, like foundation that you have in dance.
Awesome. Kind of you were talking about with like the piano, right? You got to learn your scales and then you're able to do that fancy stuff.
So like that's the root of jazz music. Is like everyone thinks that jazz is just all improvisation. It's like, yes, it is improv, but 2-5-1 chords, which is music theory. We don't have to go into that, but like there's a chord progression that is key in this music. And when you do that, can build off of those. You have to have that foundation in order to improv. So when you have a band and being able to talk and engage with one another, you kind of build from there.
That's awesome, man. That's very cool. I mean, it's been a really wonderful podcast, man. Really wonderful episode. I appreciate this conversation. How can people find you online, my man?
Yeah, you can find me at Brown's Test Kitchen, all one word, Brown's Test Kitchen. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, for whoever's still on Facebook. Even Instagram is kind of like archaic at this point. But yeah, I'm on there for socials. And then my website is brownstestkitchen.com.
Awesome.
So you can sign up on my website for information for the like next events and things that happen.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Yeah, definitely hit this man up. You want, I mean, like just the pictures from the food, man. I'm already thinking about it. It's like, I got some saliva coming down the side of my mouth.
Yeah.
It looks bomb.
So I guess the other thing is for the food is like, I didn't share this, but like back to where we were talking about African culture and foundation, like the cuisine that I do is like a journey through the African diaspora. Ooh. So like highlighting the essence of like West African, Caribbean, Southern soul food dishes that I just remix. Damn. So that's what the menu looks like. You'll feel like homey and then like comfort food involved in it. And so when I serve the food throughout the brunches and a lot of my events outside of the dance one, has that essence to it where it's like, all right, let's kind of trace back that essence, the African roots, and kind of the collaboration and fusion of cultures.
That's so cool, man. Oh man, I really hate that I'm missing out this weekend, but definitely gonna check it out.
But you can check out the next one. The next ones, so we have Brunch Bachata June 8th. September 21st is Salsa y Cervezas. And then December 14th will be another Brunch Bachata.
Nice.
And then we'll start the cycle all over in 2025.
Hell yeah, man. I'm going to mark that in my calendar tonight.
Yeah. Love it.
That's amazing, man. Any final comments or anything else you'd like to share?
Final comments is just enjoy dancing, have fun, love it. It's a good time, and just interact, engage with people in an honest and like loving manner. That's the best way I could put it.
Amazing. We're going to put that on a shirt, bro.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for tuning into the podcast. That concludes this episode with wonderful Ryan Brown. Check him out, Brown's Test Kitchen, everywhere, website, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
I have a YouTube. Haven't done much with it yet, but
okay.
We should probably work on that.
Yeah. Man, definitely would love to help. But yeah, check this man out. Everything that he's doing for the community, it's amazing. And as always, y'all, if you see us out dancing, save us a dance. Catch you next time.
Yeah.
Hey.